Hello guys, I'm Andrew from Seoul Law Group and we are an English-speaking law firm based in Seoul, South Korea. We're back with another law video today and we'll cover everything you need to know about voice phishing in Korea. Maybe you've already experienced it. You got a call from your bank saying that your card had been used in some weird locations and that they wanted to make sure that the card was not stolen. The person on the other end of the line asks you for your bank details, like your social security number, bank account number, and even PIN code. Thinking this is a legitimate call from your bank, you trustingly give the information over the phone. A few hours later, you found out your bank account has been drained empty. You have just fallen victim to voice phishing. Voice phishing is becoming an increasingly common crime. As everywhere in the world, voice phishing is becoming an increasing problem in South Korea. It is known as voice phishing in Korean, or officially as 전기통신 금융사기. Although voice phishing incidents have decreased between 2018 and 2020, from 34,132 cases to 31,681 cases, the total amount scammed has increased massively from 404 billion won in 2018 to over 700 billion won in 2020. What is voice phishing? The Financial Supervisory Service, FSS 금융감독원, defines voice phishing or phishing as a type of fraudulent crime that defrauds another person's property through non-face-to-face transactions using telecommunications means. They are never face-to-face, unlike other scams. Voice phishing is a very common crime and targets all kinds of people. The elderly are especially prone to be scammed this way, as they are very used to being able to trust the phone and authority. Foreigners in South Korea are also often victims of voice phishing. This is due to two reasons. Firstly, the messages or phone calls received are in difficult Korean, and many people do not understand them completely. They may think that the messages are common in Korea and unknowingly submit their personal information. Secondly, scammers often target immigrants because they are used to sending money home to their families. The scammers tell them that they can remit the money cheaper if they pay them a fee. Examples of voice phishing. Although some voice phishing scams seem obvious, especially nowadays when voice phishing is so common, there are so many different techniques that anyone can fall victim to voice phishing. These are major examples of voice phishing. Most of them are officially listed in FSS. 1. Fraud under the pretense of kidnapping or accident. The scammer manipulates the caller ID of the phone, calls a parent, and tells them that the child has been in an accident or been kidnapped. Some parents believe the scammer's lies, especially when the child is gone to school, studying abroad, or in the military, and send a large amount of money for their child. 2. Fraud that impersonates someone through messenger phishing. The scammer hacks into a person's online messenger and logs in, pretending to be that person, and sends messages to a family member or friend registered in the contact list. The scammer asks for money to help them out of some urgent financial trouble, which tricks the victim to send the money. They ask people to send small amounts of money repeatedly, so that over time, people send a large amount of money. 3. Fraud using online banking. The scammer impersonates a bank account employee, someone from a local tax office, or even a police officer to scare the victim that their bank account/credit card has been used for someone else's crime. The scammer demands the victim to share their private information about their bank account, ID, password, account number, PIN code, etc., and credit card, password, card number, card validation code, etc., and then uses the information to get a credit card loan in the victim's name from online banking. 4. Fraud using a false text message. The scammer sends false text messages to the victim as if those are official notes from a financial company, state institution, or online shopping mall such as Amazon. The text message contains a link to a website, but when the victim clicks on the link, they are directed to a false website made by the scammer. The victim, believing that it is an official website, enters their private information, which is used by the scammer to steal their identity or drain their bank accounts. 5. Fraud using ATM. The scammer impersonates a police officer or other government authority to scare the victim that someone else is trying to withdraw money from their bank account and they urgently need to take safety measures. Or the scammer impersonates a tax collector and entices the victim that they will refund the overcollected tax. Either way, the scammer makes the victim visit a nearby ATM and operate the machine as they were told. Of course, the machine ends up sending the money to the scammer from the victim's bank account. 6. Fraud that tricks the victim to transfer the money. The scammer impersonates a police officer or other government authority to scare the victim that someone else is trying to withdraw money from the bank account. The scammer tells the victim that in order to track the account transactions, they need the victim to transfer some money to a special account made by the police. Or that the victim's account is no longer safe, so they need to move their money into a new, safer account. Either way, the victim ends up sending the money to the scammer's account. 7. Tech support scam. The scammer tells the victim that their laptop or computer is infected with a virus and asks them to download software that gains them access to the computer. When the victim connects to the bank websites, they are directed to a false website made by the scammer. And if the victim enters their private information, it is stolen by the scammer. 8. Fraud that tricks the victim about loan. The scammer impersonates an employee of a bank or loan company and tells the victim that they would give a loan with low interest. The victim, usually the people who are financially challenged and in desperate need of a loan, eagerly accepts the news. The scammer demands the victim's private information or makes them send money to their account, saying that it is a procedure to get a loan from their bank or company. Korean laws on voice phishing. Because the amount of damage from voice phishing is increasing rapidly, the South Korean government and prosecution are working hard on countermeasures. In 2011, the Special Act on the Prevention of Loss Caused by Telecommunications-Based Financial Fraud and Refund for Loss was enacted. The main contents of this law are as follows. When a user applies for a loan or withdraws their savings deposit, the finance company, such as a bank or insurance company, should take measures to identify the person to check if it is really the user themselves doing it. If the damage occurs to the user because the finance company didn't take the measure for the identification, the finance company shall be liable to such damage. If an account of a user is presumably used for suspicious transactions that may be caused by voice phishing, the finance company should postpone or temporarily suspend depositing or remittance of the account. And then the company should notify the user and take measures of identification immediately. The victim of voice phishing can ask for the suspension of payment from their account to the financial company. When the account is suspended but it actually wasn't used for voice phishing, the finance company should cancel the suspension. Also, the user can raise an objection to the suspension of payment by proving that it wasn't used for fraud. After the account is suspended and no objection was raised, the finance company requests FSS to make a public announcement of the procedure for extinguishment of claims. This means that the victims can apply for the remedy of their damages for the next 2 months. And when their claim is valid, FSS would let the finance company refund for loss of the victims with the money in that account. When a person is found guilty of voice phishing, the person becomes person subject to restriction of electronic financial transactions and cannot make any electronic financial transaction for a certain amount of time. When a certain phone number is used for voice phishing, The police, the prosecutor, or FSS can ask the Ministry of Science and ICT to seize the telecommunications service for that phone number. There are other regulations to prevent voice phishing in Korean banks. If more than 1 million Korean won is withdrawn or transferred at one time, withdrawal and transfer through ATM will be delayed for 30 minutes. If you want to withdraw or transfer money during those 30 minutes, you should go directly to the bank teller, not the ATM. When a person tries to open a new account in the bank should demand the person to prove their purpose for this new account. For instance, if you need a new account to get a paycheck from a new job, you can present your employment contract as evidence. If you cannot prove your purpose, you can still open the account, but withdrawals and transfers from that account will be limited to a certain amount. When a person opens too many new accounts in a short time, they're not allowed to open any more accounts. Being a victim of voice phishing. So what should you do if you have accidentally become a victim of voice phishing in South Korea? Most importantly, you should immediately report to the police and explain what happened. The police know what voice phishing scams are happening in South Korea and will best advise you on your next steps. This will be also helpful to immediately suspend your bank account and bank card. If you are fast enough, hopefully, the scammers will not yet have had time to take out money, although this is not often the case. If you've also given away your personal information, you have to discuss with the police if it is necessary to change your resident number, for example. If you have been scammed out of money through a voice phishing scam, it is advisable to contact a lawyer right away. They can help you with your case at the police, making sure that everything is noted down correctly. Therefore, it is important to find an English-speaking lawyer like Seoul Law Group so that they can make sure that you're being represented fairly. If the police do end up apprehending the scammer, a lawyer can help you file a civil lawsuit or apply for a refund for loss according to the special act mentioned earlier. If you can prove that financial damage was done to you by the scammer or the bank could be ordered to pay you money. It is possible that that is not the same amount as you are scammed out of. An English-speaking lawyer can help you prepare for the lawsuit and give you the best chance of winning. Being accused of voice phishing. What if you're accused of voice phishing by the South Korean police or prosecution? Regardless of whether you're guilty or not, immediately find a qualified English-speaking lawyer that can help you navigate the accusations. They can help prove your innocence while making sure that you understand every step of the process. What can you do to prevent voice phishing? Of course, prevention is better than healing. So here are some tips on preventing falling victim to voice phishing. Firstly, never give any personal information, like bank details, social security number, or credit card information over the phone. No bank or government institution will ever ask for this over the phone. If they do ask for it, hang up and look up the official number of the bank or organization online. Call that number and tell them what happened. They'll want to investigate too. Secondly, if you receive a text message asking for money from someone saying they're your friend or relative, always call them on the number you know well to check if it is really them. It is highly unlikely that someone you know well will text you from an unknown number asking for money. Finally, never transfer large amounts of money over the phone when asked by someone you have never met. Whether they ask for an investment, a payment to reduce your loans, or get a better remittance fee, or a donation to charity, always ask to see credentials. Also, you can always check if suspicious messages you have received are real by contacting your bank or government institution. Usually, when there are grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes, it is an easy way to tell the messages are fake and probably a voice phishing scam. Well, I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any questions or concerns about voice phishing in Korea, let us know in the comment section below, and you can find more information on soullawgroup.com. Don't forget to like, Subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell for more Korean law videos. And we hope to see you next time. Bye bye.